Hey guys, Perry just up top. I wanted to talk about a couple of things that I missed in the actual episode. First off, this is episode 160. I think I said episode 158 or 159 at some point throughout the throughout the episode. So I wanted to correct that. I'm not crazy. I just have a lot of stuff going on. I apologize, but I know what episode it is now. It's 160. Yay, hooray. Which means we've got just, we got a while. We got longer than I thought we did for episode 200. So it's not 12 weeks away. I know I said that at some point in this episode. My brain is not working the way that it should. So we'll, just ignore that part later on. Also, I don't mention this until later on in the episode, but I wanted to bring it up top. You can find our brand new glassware that says "This is my bourbon drinking glass" on it. They're Glencairns. You can find them at whiskeyambitions.com. It's the same place that Chad and Sarah from It's Bourbon Night host all of their apparel and their merchandise. You can go over there and check them out. We are about halfway sold out of them. So if you have not gone and picked up one of your This is my bourbon drinking glass Glencairns just yet, please go and do so. It supports the show. It supports what we do, and they're really, really super awesome. I love them. We were drinking out of them on this episode, so go and check that out. All right, enough for me. Let's get into the episode. Everybody, welcome to the very first episode of This is My Bourbon podcast for 2021. My name is Perry. I'm the host of this show. With me, as usual, is the co-host, the bird with the most, Swan.
I have nothing, but I will take the most title. I'll take it. All right.
Hey, Swan.
What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. It has been a while. We talked about it on the pregame chats, but we both had pretty good holiday seasons.
We did.
New Year's was spectacular. We stayed home. Great.
Yes.
It was great.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
I will say it was a little depressing. I got on YouTube looking for the ball to drop on some sort of live, and instead the number one was just, look how empty Times Square is.
Oh!
And it was just...
You can hear Ryan Seacrest in the background. Or drunk Andy Cohen. Do you ever watch any of the video of Andy Cohen?
No.
It was brutal. He was toasted.
Honestly, what else are you doing?
I mean, at the end of the year that we had,
there's some people they were toasted like 3/4 of the time. I mean, why not?
I'm not going to raise my hand to that, but y'all probably know that might be a little bit true. Anyway, welcome anybody who is a first-time listener of the show. We are very thankful to have you here. If you have not yet, please leave a rating and review. Subscribe to the podcast. It comes out every Wednesday, whether it's a banked episode or not. We really kind of ended 2020 on a thud with a banked episode, but...
Yes. Yes.
But you know what? That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's all good.
And if you're a returning listener, thanks for being back. Hope that the end of the year treated you well and that your 2021's off to a good start. We start off every episode, though, with Flying Blind.
We do. And
this week, I'm really excited for Swan to fly blind. Put your glasses on first, though, dude.
I didn't. I have not had them. I lost them. I don't know where they're at. Been driving blind for like 2 weeks.
Swan.
Watch out, the people of Man of War. I'm coming for you. All right.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, it smells so good. I wasn't trying to trick you with this one or anything. I legitimately wanted you to, that word was legitimately, by the way. I just kind of steamrolled through it. Enjoy this Flying Blind.
Oh, that's so tasty. I don't think they ever made them, but did you ever have those cream saver candies?
We talked about this like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay, good. The cream saver, like, could you imagine if they made a butterscotch version of it?
Oh, that would be amazing.
That's this bourbon.
That's 100% what this is.
Just butterscotch cream saver.
Yeah. So this is the Russell's pick that you all got in at Total Wine. What, like a
Yes.
couple days ago?
Yeah.
This is spectacular. It's a Rickhouse B, which I don't think I've ever really seen or had a Rickhouse B pick before. But it's stupid good.
It is, man. That is so tasty.
Yeah. Good job, Total Wine.
Yeah, I mean, even if we just sip on this for the rest of the episode, I think I'd be happy.
I mean,
Variety is the spice of life.
It is, which is why I have so many bottles.
Yeah.
That's what we'll keep saying.
Yeah.
That's what I keep telling myself at the very least.
That's tasty, man.
It's really good. I'm gonna hoard it for a little while.
Totally fun.
So this is our big recap episode
This is, yes.
for 2020, where we reveal our best and worst and some honorable mentions as well
Yeah.
from 2020. I am slightly nervous to get into this.
Me too. I have a lot of honorable mentions.
I do too. I have so many honorable mentions. I have a couple that were like my most disappointing, but it it was a weird year. And I almost feel like I needed a top 20 in some regards as well.
Yeah, I do too. I really struggled because I feel like four of them tied for fifth, Like I just had like a
You're just
weird,
splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah, I'm just like, all these are perfect the way they are. And like, this is why I like variety and the amount of bottles I have in my house.
Yeah,
so that I
absolutely.
can go between these. Like, there is a 1st through 10th on this list, but I mean, depending on the day,
Could change.
I could change it,
Yeah.
or I could just be like, oh, well, I'd prefer to go back and have this as opposed to blank, just
Yep.
because that's the mood I'm in now.
Yep. Absolutely. Before we get into that, though, we have some news. But I also have to ask you, Swan, what the heck have you been drinking recently?
Oh, man, it's the holidays. Everything. So much. Honestly, I've been having a lot of the Nulu Toasted pick that we have in. We got a new one. It's pretty good. I liked the last one a little bit better, personally.
I don't disagree with that.
I've had some Knob Creek picks.
Mm-hmm.
Picks with an S. All fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, what else? Rare Breed. Can't go wrong with that. Had some Makers, a little bit of Blanton's, some Elijah Craig, and it's a long list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rare Breed is definitely what kind of got me through the holidays this past year.
It's like a hug, man.
It is. It makes
like-
you feel good about life,
Yeah.
And, we always are like, oh, it'd be cool if it were a little bit higher proof.
No, it's fine. It's fine right
Nah,
where it's
I
at,
don't
man.
need it. I don't need it any
You
higher
know that
proof.
like a warm hug from a loved one, that like slight bit of serotonin that hits your brain.
That's Rare Breed.
That's Rare Breed. That's I mean
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
that is a perfect description, man.
I'm not upset with that description at all. Oh man, what have I been drinking on? I found Bullet Barrel Strength recently.
Can't go wrong with that, man. You got that high proof one,
Yeah,
didn't
it's super high proof. It's 62.7%. So
Yikes.
123.4. That
Sure.
Like I just wasn't expecting to find a proof that high.
you? No, I think I
with it.
had 119.2 like every time, or something that was around 119
Yeah.
like every single time I bought.
I say super
Barrel
high,
Strength.
super high proof, but it's not actually.
For Bullet, it is.
For Bullet, it absolutely is. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're just taking it from the, this was sourced from Four Roses method. That's really pretty high proof for Four Roses.
It is. I mean, that's like hazmat Bullet,
Yeah. So I've had that. Man, I've just had so much stuff. Spirits of French Lick. Alan sent me a couple of bottles.
Nice.
One's a 4-grain bottled and bond. The other's a high rye bottled and bond. I need to get you to try those sometime soon. We might have to do reviews of them.
Oh no! I'm involved
What a
for that,
shame!
man.
What a shame! The Knob Creek cast strength 12-year-olds.
Nah,
Oh,
nah.
I did pick up the 124.3 proof from you all yesterday too.
Yeah.
It's good. I really wish it came out in 2020 instead of 2021.
Well, no, it did.
Huh?
They put those out all year. People got different proofs depending on the store. We just bought like a pallet of this and it came out. So like there was 120.5. I saw one that was 125.6, 124.3. I broke Perry. It's all over the place.
I will say too, I drank quite a bit of Riffmas.
Good, man.
I just
The amount of people that wanted that pick
after they saw the sticker.
after they saw the sticker
and the wax.
and the wax, and Travis Gentz holding it in a giant bunny costume.
Okay, I want to correct you. It is Gents.
Gentz.
Yeah.
Gentz holding it in a
He
giant.
he texted me one time when you said Gents.
My bad. You never know, man.
But it wasn't just Travis that did that. You did that too.
I did that too. He was definitely. I kid you not. My stepmom came over yesterday and she was just like, "Here's your Christmas gifts." I hadn't seen her yet because Christmas was weird this year, and she came over and I got some stuff and I opened it and she's like, "I want you to try this one on, but you got to put it on." And I'm like, "Okay." And I mean, usually they give me like a hoodie or something, just something generic. And I opened it up and it was that freaking bunny costume, and I'm just like, "Oh my god."
Aunt Clara always gives you the nicest gifts.
She does. She does. So I put it on, and there's just a picture of me holding our bottle. Just
Heck yeah, dude.
Just like, I can't believe this is happening.
I broke out that and some of the Whiskey Drummer for Christmas Day
Nice.
with Papa Ritter.
Yeah.
So, it was good, man. I enjoyed these holidays quite a bit. Having the baby just made it like that much better.
It probably took the pressure off of, "So Perry, how's the job?" Everyone's like, "I don't care about you anymore. Look at that kid."
I still got questions about my job.
Oh, no. My parents ask about my cats now.
I don't even know if I've talked about what I do now on the show.
No, I have no clue.
You don't know what I do?
No.
I work customer service for Papa John's.
That's fantastic.
On their social media.
I love that.
I really haven't told you that?
No, I saw at one point that you said that work made you hungry and you wanted to order pizza, and I was like, there's probably a correlation here, but didn't ask any questions.
Yeah, so if you get Papa John's and you have an issue with your order, I am one of the people who sees your complaint on social media. So if you go and you tweet about how you ordered a new stuffed crust pizza and there was barely any cheese in it, or if you got a papadilla and there was too many pickles on the cheeseburger one, I have to look at that. And then I have to reach out and say, "Hey, we're really sorry about that. Here's a code for a free papadilla the next time you order, or 50% off your next pizza."
It's fantastic.
It's pretty great, man. I don't have to talk to anybody on the phone.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it.
That's fantastic. See, now I feel bad because I got a delivery the other day from DoorDash, and the lady was just like, I put no contact delivery, as most people do, and I got a phone call, and I was like, "Oh, gosh, can you not read the instructions?" And she's like, "There's a cat outside, and she looks like she's just ready to eat your food." So, and I'm just like, "Oh, that's probably my cat." It's the neighbors, but I love her. And so she ran into the house, the cat, and then I grabbed my food, and then on the little notes section I put, "Super nice, pet my cat. She was really cool." And then after the fact, I was like, "Oh, maybe that's not what Qdoba wanted to see with their delivery status."
Regardless, that's what I'm doing now.
Dude, that was so long of a story, but that was great. It's just good to catch up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's catch up on some news.
Absolutely, we have so much of it.
We have quite a bit. Some good stuff, some not so good stuff. One of the not so good things is that Willie Pratt, who was the emeritus, right? Master distiller for Michter's, passed away. Super loved by people in the industry. He was just kind of a pioneer for making Michter's what it is today, and reviving that brand. So very, very sad to hear that. Passed away right before New Year's Eve. But yeah, man, just one last person in the whiskey world that we had to say goodbye to.
Yeah.
Before 2020 ended. The Bro Brothers Distillery is officially open
Good.
for business.
Good.
I actually, you know what's crazy? I saw a commercial for them on TV on New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. Not kidding. I was blown away
Yeah.
that they have commercials already.
They do, man. They do. They have commercials, and believe it or not, the amount of people that call and specifically ask to see if we have that in is ridiculous.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Stuff is popular.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We'll need to get them on the show sometime in the nearish future.
Yeah, because the first time we saw him, poor dude rolled up, and he was just like handing out samples and stuff, and I didn't think he realized how busy it was going to be, and it was just him in this booth, and he's looking around, and I'm sure he was just like, wow, every booth's got like 4 or 5 representatives. This is nuts. Maybe we need to bring somebody else in. He was pouring samples all day. We asked him to come to the booth. He just did not have time.
No, and he like came over and apologized at one point too, and we were like, "You're busy. Why are
Everyone loves your stuff, and you were busy. That is not a problem, man."
what a shame for you. So go check them out. Go buy a bottle. It's pretty cool stuff. Heaven Hill has filled their 9 millionth barrel.
That's insane.
That's wild. I can't wait to not get a sample of this. The only reason I say that, and I'm just slightly salty, but I understand the limited availability of it and everything, but I really, really wanted to try the 85th anniversary single barrel that they put out last year.
Yeah.
I asked a couple of times, and after I got the second response where they were like, it's super limited, but if we have any more left over, we'll send one to you. I was like, oh, I asked this question already. And they gave me the answer already. So
Yeah, that's all good.
Felt kind of bad about it, but crazy. 9 million barrels. Very, very cool.
That's insane, man.
Looking forward to seeing what this is going to actually be like in the 10 plus years that it's going to be sitting in there.
I want to try it. Can
I want to try it.
Can I get a sample of that one?
I'll get a sample of everything from Heaven Hill if I could.
Yeah, me too, man.
How about some weekly releases?
What we got?
Jefferson's Reserve Single Barrel 100 Proof.
Okay, I see. I'm all right with that because Jefferson's does better with me with extra proof or if they add in more rye content. I like the chef's collaboration.
Mm-hmm. I do too. $55 a bottle. Supposed to be out now. So I would be interested in picking one of these up. Not, of course, the biggest Jefferson's fan.
No.
There are some really, really strong members of their product line.
There is, but Jefferson's is like Willet, man. When somebody becomes a fan of that distillery, that is their thing.
Yep.
Like they just dig their teeth in on those.
And in a new MGP rye, it's called Buzzards. Can I read? Buzzards Roost Toasted Barrel Rye.
Okay.
Finished, 3 years old, and that is 103 proof, $79 a bottle, for sale in Kentucky only. It's produced. Wait, where is it go? Where is it? I don't know. Anyway, I'd try this. Nice toasted barrel rye. That's it for releases. Man, we're really flying through some of this. We got some TTB labels as well. The newest Jefferson's Ocean Aged at Sea, 115 proof.
Oh, so it's another cast strength one?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Voyage 24. So
I'm waiting for them to do a cast strength weeded. I think that'd be interesting.
I guess they haven't done that yet, have they?
No, that's like a culmination of a few things that they kind of parcel out over releases, but they've not done it together. Mm-hmm. So I would probably jump on one of those.
I don't know if you've seen this one yet either. Jack Daniel's Bonded.
That has been out for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, but I think that one specifically was in a 1 liter, and I'm wanting to say it was duty-free shop only.
Oh, okay. Well,
so maybe this is hitting the market finally.
Yeah, this is going to be a 750.
Okay.
So
yeah, that one I've seen. I thought I saw it for a while. It might be the gold label, but I know that it's got like a gold label on it.
This has a black label.
Or I'm just in a fever dream. That could also be it.
Wake up, Swan. Come back to reality.
I could have swore they had them in duty-free shops for a while.
I mean, it could be. You could totally be thinking, why don't we just look?
Let's just fact check Swan real fast.
I'm seeing a bottled and bond, but I don't know if it's... So what's the difference then? We've got a Jack Daniel's bonded and a Jack Daniel's bottled and bond?
That's what I'm thinking about. But I don't know. I don't think there's a difference.
I don't think there is either.
Maybe it's just slightly different name and available to everybody now. Because they did that with Maker's 101 too, right? That was duty free for a long time, and it was in a slightly larger bottle.
Yeah. I don't know. Really bizarre.
But hey, I'm fine with it. I
Sure,
mean, we
why
both
not?
have enjoyed Jack Daniels at slightly higher proofs.
Yeah, we absolutely have. I did pick up a bottle of single barrel proof.
Nothing wrong with it,
too.
man.
So, sue me. Anyway, don't sue me, please. The batch names for Booker's in 2021 have also been revealed.
Oh, all of them?
All 4 of them
Wow.
on the TTB website.
That's bold.
Yeah. 2021-01 is going to be called Donahoe's Batch. 127.3 proof, 6 years, 7 months, 7 days. What did I say?
I just know how much fun people had with Teresa's batch.
Oh, yeah. And Granny's batch.
Yeah, and Granny's batch. That I don't see this going well, but
No.
I appreciate it. I know they got to put a name on it.
Yeah, they do. Let's see. 02 is going to be... okay, it looks like they have a generic proof and age for each of them. So that 127 point... Yeah, see, all 4 of these, rather, have the same proof and age on them, so I'm guessing that's going to change once they actually get the blend figured out. Tag-along batch is 02. I imagine that there's some sentimentality going into that one. Bardstown batch is 03. And 04, No Strangers batch.
I like that.
There's some sentimentality going into the
Yeah.
Booker's batches this year.
That'd be good.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to those. Hopefully 2021 is going to be a better year for Booker's than 2020 was. But
I think they had 2 good batches this year.
I just thought everything was okay.
All right.
Just me, man. But,
Yeah.
what are you going to do about it? I think it's time, Swan.
Think it's time?
We finally have to get into it.
Get into what? Just kidding.
We are going to be talking about our best bourbons and or ryes of 2020 now.
Before we start, I have a lot of rye on mine.
A lot of rye whiskeys?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's exciting, actually.
Absolutely. So are we just doing top 10, or do you want to go with honorable mentions first?
Yeah, we'll go with honorable mentions and most disappointing first, I guess.
All right.
I want to say, too, before we get into this, we don't go through and taste all the products that we have
No.
on our list as we are making our list. We have had everything that has made it onto our lists, but not everything is battled up against each other.
Yeah, we didn't have these within the last, 2 weeks to kind of
Exactly.
do, a comparison.
Yeah.
A lot of this is going to have a little bit of, the moment I had that bourbon or that whiskey, kind of how I felt about it, kind of ingrained in maybe where we had it or who we had it with. But all of these, nonetheless, are going to be great bourbons and or whiskeys and are probably going to be sought after, and some are definitely limited. So it's you'll get a good mix of something I can find probably and something you definitely won't find. You want to go ahead with your honorable mentions?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I've got actually, I'm going to talk about some of my most disappointing ones first. All of the Old Forester products this year I just thought were pretty average.
I thought the 150th was phenomenal.
I thought it was good, but I wish that it had a little bit more to it.
Okay, I feel that.
I do think, though, that the birthday bourbon this year was not that good.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I was a little, and this one's going to be, this is the big one for me. This is going to be comparatively to other years. This is not that it was disappointing as an actual bourbon.
Sure.
But the Four Roses limited edition small batch. I don't think it did anything better for me personally than the small batch select. Now, maybe that just means you put out something that was too good and it's not living up to it. But, I mean, that being said, last year's and especially 2018's, phenomenal.
Yeah.
This year I had it and I was just like, it's like cinnamon rolls and praline,
Yeah.
And it's fine.
It's just
good.
fine. Again, Four Roses Small Batch Select.
Great.
I wish if that product had come out every year as a new release, I probably would have called it my best bourbon of that year.
That's fair.
Consistently.
I do have the biggest disappointment for me, though.
Go for it.
New Riff Winter Whiskey.
Oh, interesting.
I tried it, man. Whew. It is just... It's strange. You want to try it live?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've actually had this yet.
I've had it. You got a smaller sample. If you want to just go for it, you let me know.
You can have some.
Cool.
All right. Okay.
And it's not... I think it's possibly going to be just me on this one out of us two, because this is them showing off their brewery heritage along with a bourbon. And I'm not a beer guy.
It doesn't smell bad.
No, just kind of smells kind of fruity, a little bit of chocolate.
A little bit of cinnamon spice.
Just the amount of people that hyped this up and then for me to taste it, and I was just kind of like, okay. I just didn't get it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. There you go. That's that face.
Oh, no, that's not for me.
Yep. I will say, it sits on your palate, and you get that kind of like chocolate portery-ish thing going on.
Yeah.
I
don't disagree with that.
But the mid palate is just like confused. I don't go. I don't know.
I'm just not a big fan of that.
No. And I've heard from multiple people it needs to open up quite a bit, like a lot. So maybe we let it sit, we come back to it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But that was my one where I was just like, man, New Riff has had just hitter after hitter after hitter. And then this one came out, and I'm like, this is either just the most ridiculous niche product, or it's just not good. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out.
Sorry, Ian. I will also say Castle and Key Rye.
Castle and Key Rye me.
One of the more disappointing. But it rides the fence between honorable mention and disappointing for me.
For me, I don't even want to put it on either of those. I think it's fine.
Really?
I just don't want to judge them based on their very first product.
Okay, that's fair.
They've already put out batch 2, and I've heard from a lot of people that the first one was meh. The second one had a little more rye spice to it, a little more kick to it.
Okay.
Kind of hit a niche a little more as opposed to just a giant audience. And I feel that. I want to wrap my head around batch 2 before I give Restoration a grade almost as a whole.
That's fair. I'm not upset about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about honorable mentions then. I feel bad putting this one on there, but there were things that I really, really liked better than it.
Let's preface this. We've had a lot of bourbon this year.
Had a lot of
So our honorable mentions, by all means, could possibly hit somebody else's top 10.
Uh-huh. Indeed. Elijah Craig Rye.
Okay. I put Elijah Craig Toasted.
Elijah Craig Toasted was on my top 10 at number 10. But then I remembered something else that eked it out. So I'm actually going to put Toasted and the Rye on my honorable mentions. I love both of those bottles. I think that Heaven Hill did a phenomenal job with both of them. I just found better products this year than those two.
And keep in mind, this is going up against a lot of limited editions. So it to be in that category at all is good. I think the rye drinks more like a pre-made cocktail.
Yeah. And it was made for cocktails.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm just excited to see it here eventually.
I am too. Do you want to go next? Do we want to kind of just talk about them in general? Do you want me to rattle some off? Do you want to rattle some off?
Yeah, I'll go with another one.
Sure.
I thought the William Heaven Hill from this year that I tried.
I actually don't
Honorable
think I
mention.
ever got to try it.
It's pretty tasty, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just comparing it to last year's.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it just didn't
It's
stand
difficult.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't stand up.
Turkey 17 bottled and bond.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on mine as well. Yeah. It's good. I feel like they needed to bring it down a couple of years or something. It had like an over oats kind of thing going on. It rode that line of like almost I burned the brown sugar just a little too much, like it was just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I don't think it opened up very well.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know when the last time you had it was, but after being open for a while, got a little briny.
See, I don't think I would mind that. I'll be honest. But
Okay.
understandable.
Sure.
Yeah, I just thought even the initial product, the neck pour that I had, it was like a couple pours after the neck pour, but still, it was just fine.
You got another one?
I actually put the Booker's, the pigskin batch.
Okay.
That was actually my favorite of this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even touch the Bookers this year for
I thought it was good, man. I
Pre-mentioned
really
reasons.
did.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice. It just lacked that slight bit of like the bit from like the mid palate to the finish. It was like it was just missing a piece.
Yeah.
It was like somebody took the wrong Lego. It was just I don't know. Good. Just needed a little bit of kind of like a connection piece there, and it was fine.
Yeah. I'm going to throw these two together, Barrel New Year and the Barrels 25 through 27. Excuse me.
Okay.
They
Gotcha.
were all so good. Really, really great products.
Not had most of those.
Yeah, I know
that
you
one,
haven't.
That one's not in my consideration.
I'd throw Armida in there as well.
Yeah,
too.
I did have the Armida. I like it. I don't even know if I'd want to put that on a bourbon and rye listing.
That's fair. That's fair.
It was great though, but it was just a really interesting, different thing. It just doesn't make sense on this list. And then the last one for me is New Riff Maltsters.
Nice. Yeah.
I really enjoyed
They
the
were good.
rye maltsters that
Yeah.
I had. Not the wheated. I haven't had that one.
I'll rattle off some other ones as well. Wilderness Trail 6-year, Chicken Cock 15, the Kentucky Owl products. I wanted to include at least one of them on my top 10, but and I do love those bottles a lot. Something about it just didn't seem right to include those on my top 10. I don't know. The Bardstown releases this year were all super, super good. The Benchmark releases as well that came out this year, a really interesting and cool addition to the Buffalo Trace line. Especially, I want to point out the Benchmark Full Proof, which is just about the highest proof bourbon you can get for the price.
That is about the best deal for proof
in
wise
bourbon. Yeah. Hands down, I would say. Bullet Blender Select, and I battled a little bit on whether or not to put this one in most disappointing or honorable mentions, but Larceny Barrel Proof. I started out really rocky, improved a little bit, but I don't think it improved enough for me, at the very least, to make it onto my top 10 list. They just consistently was like C+.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, you can do better than this, but at the same time, it was good. I mean, it was good.
yeah.
It's just 2021, and I got excited the other night, too, thinking about that we're going to be getting the new batches of Larceny and Elijah Craig soon.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Anyway, I'm excited to see what 2021 brings for both of them.
Absolutely.
I wanted to float this past you too, because I kind of been thinking about it in the ether a bit. Do you have a best overall distillery for the year, or most improved, or best in show, or what?
I had kind of a new distillery that I liked. I mean, I've enjoyed the Nulu products, and I like how much they're experimenting. I enjoy that. Most improved for me is going to lead me into my number 10. So I'll leave that for a second here.
Sure.
Yeah, but honestly, Bardstown Bourbon Company. Mm-hmm. I think we did this last year with them. But as far as just best distillery, they are putting out some of the most interesting stuff. Had COVID not been a thing, they would have held probably the best events. Mm-hmm. They just have a way of inviting you in and making you feel comfortable without pushing heritage down your throat. I mean, it is one of the few bourbon brands on the shelf that is not just heritage driven after long backstory of master distillers with X amount of experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just they took all that crap, put it to the side, and said, we're going to do us. It's going to be new, it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be accessible for everybody. And I cannot be more happy with that distillery.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. If I had to throw another one in there as well, I thought Jim Beam had an excellent year.
They did.
I thought that this was one of the best years Jim Beam might have ever had.
And most improved, I'll throw Makers on there, man.
I 100% agree.
Makers.
I thought Makers this past year just killed it.
Yeah, I'm not usually one to give Makers accolades, but SE4 PR5 was great. They got me excited immediately with their press timing about the FA1 or whatever it is for next year.
I haven't really seen it, but I've heard about it. So
the community batch, that was cool.
have
Makers
you had
46 cash strength. No, I haven't.
I got a sample of it around here somewhere.
We will definitely get to it. I mean, they did good this year, man.
I think it's all the way over there.
It was great.
Yeah. We'll get into that. Okay. So, number 10.
Yeah, so this is where I'll kind of lead in from the last one.
Yeah.
Most improved distillery for me this year was James E. Pepper.
Nice.
Their rye.
Their rye was so good.
Their new 4-year rye,
Yeah.
the single barrel, 110 proof, I believe. Phenomenal.
I would throw that into my honorable mentions as well.
Yeah.
That bottle. If I can still find it, I might have to go pick one up.
I'll get you one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's so good, man. It's finally a higher than 51% rye that I feel like I can press to new people wanting to get into rye, other than Pikesville. Because it's basically been like, I like cash strength, what should I get? And it's like Pikesville, and 3 more, Pikesville. It was that over and over again. And now we finally have one that I feel like, here's one that's a barely legal, here's one that's a little higher, and then there's also New Riff, and I feel like those 3 are just great.
Yeah.
Other than what you're going to get in a restaurant. I mean, everyone's going to have Old Forester and Rittenhouse. That's fine.
I have one rye on my list. We'll get to it a little bit later. I think that's a really good number 10.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. My number 10 is Yellowstone LE.
Okay. Yeah.
I keep going back to this bottle.
It's good. I wish the Armagnac punched through a little more.
I do too.
That was what prevented me from putting it on the list.
But I think that it is one of the best products to come out of Yellowstone in a while. I will say, though, I did have the 2017 LE a couple nights ago.
Leaps and bounds better.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think this bottle holds so much of the story of 2020 as well. And the innovation that came out of it with people trying the Armagnac barrels and seeing what it was going to do, how it was going to interact with the bourbon. And I think this is one of the most successful examples of it.
It is, yeah.
From 2020.
I think they set a precedent this year that Armagnac needs to be experimented more with.
100% agree.
And that's pioneer the way, man. It's good, and I'm all for it.
Number 9.
Number 9, Elijah Craig B520.
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't go very high for me, man.
It didn't.
No.
Wow.
Elijah Craig was a miss for me this year.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, I thought A120 was good. I thought B520 was better. And I thought the last one was just hot. I couldn't get over the amount of ethanol. Like, there's not an Elijah Craig I've got at home where I'm just like, this is too hot for me. I'll come back to it occasionally. No.
Yeah.
A 139.4 proof one that came out a few years ago. Fantastic. Bring it on, man. It's just this one in particular had a lot of ethanol. And this year just kind of fell flat. Honestly, all of the Larceny and Elijah Craig just kind of, it was just a constant like C, B, you're doing great.
Yeah.
There's just other stuff in this list I just felt like it did better jobs.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
My number 9, the new Jim Beam single barrel at 108 proof.
Yeah.
I love this bottle so much. I treat it almost as a daily drinker.
Yeah.
Really. I think that they stepped up their game from the old 95 proof single barrels. Mm-hmm. And now it looks more like a Jim Beam product as well. They had that weird, oddly like coffin shaped bottle too with the 95 proof single barrel.
Yeah.
And it was a good product. Don't get me wrong. But I just think that the 108 truly helped show what Beam can do at a mid-high proof range, lower high proof
Absolutely.
range.
I love it. I can't understand why they did it. Does that make any sense? I mean,
okay.
Like most places I've been, it's just like, check that out. It's $25. It's 108 proof. Mm-hmm. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's a no-brainer. And then the person behind the desk is like, do you need any bakers? We've got that on here as well. It's like,
Same thing. Yeah, exactly.
No. And he's like, but this one's like almost $50. And they're just like,
yeah, but this one's literally half the price.
yeah, but stop talking. It's right here. Like, I can't wrap my head around it.
I think it might be the different mash bills more than anything.
Maybe.
Because I think Baker's is the high rye. I can't remember for sure.
Either way, it's
Doesn't
just,
matter.
it confuses me, man.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah. Number 8.
Number 8 for me is the Parker's Heritage Heavy Char.
Ooh, I also had a Heaven Hill product at number 8.
Yeah, what'd you have?
Old Fitz 14.
Okay. See, the Old Fitz didn't really do it for me this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, the earliest release, whatever that was, a 9-year, was not good. I thought it was so flat.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a letdown on that one.
And a breakdown.
Yeah.
But
Dude, the Heavy Char is so good.
Heavy Char is really good.
It needs to open up in the glass so bad. But once it does, it is phenomenal.
We'll talk about the Heavy Char on my end here a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I think the Old Fitz 14 was phenomenal. Yeah, it's an expensive bottle. I still think it's a really great value. I think as far as value goes, the Old Fitz bottled and bond decanters are so accurate.
They are.
In their pricing. I think that's just...
It's $10 a year.
It is. And you get a really beautiful bottle with it.
Ever since that has come out, that's been my pricing standard. Mm-hmm. Because I know that anybody making an LE is going to pay a significant amount of money on making it look like an LE. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I just assume that, like, hey, if it gets out of this range of, like, $10 a year, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
I mean, it's great, unless it's a craft distillery, and then I get it, but if you've got Jim Beam going, hey, we've got a 7-year, here, not to pick on Heaven Hill again, but we've got a 85th anniversary and it's going for how much? And it's like, how old is this? It's 13 years old.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense.
But it's got the box with it, though.
It's got a box.
It's got the box. It's
Cool.
got the pretty bottle.
The other one's a decanter. I mean, if somebody broke in your house, you could beat them with it. I mean, it's
not my first thought, but okay.
Yeah, it's huge.
Also fair.
It's just so dense and cool.
Swan's getting more violent with his bottles than I am.
I keep forgetting to lock the door, man.
That's on you, boo-boo.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Rare Breed Rye.
I'll go ahead and tell you my number 6 was Rare Breed Rye.
Okay.
So kind of splitting hairs there, but
yeah.
Man, I love that so much.
Dude, it is so good. It's so good.
Oh.
For them to miss so bad for a few people on the 17-year, to put out, hey, this is a daily drinker that's usually like kind of like a plus extra $15 maybe, but it's kind of limited, it's kind of special, it's cool, it's whatever. Yeah. Dude, I'm so happy with it.
I am too.
I'm so happy with it.
I am too. My number 7 was Stag Junior Batch 14.
Okay, I haven't had that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's fantastic.
It is. It's crazy because it's yet another year where the Stag Junior is better than the Daddy Stag.
Yeah.
I mean, this is at least the second year in a row when that's happened.
Yeah, I can get behind that. This year's Stag
You
just
don't sound
didn't.
so convinced.
Well, it just didn't. I haven't had the Stag Junior, so
Yeah.
I'm literally not convinced. But I mean, this year's Stag just didn't hold up in the lineup.
No, it didn't. What we put it at number 3 out of the 5?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, Stag is supposed to be one of those premier brands that like it is the best of the best for a lot of people, and it just didn't really register the same as it does in years past.
Yeah, for sure. So that was number 7. Now it's time for number 6.
Yours was the rare breed.
Mine
rye.
was the rare breed rye. Yeah.
Mine is another rye. Saz 18.
Ooh, buddy.
Dude, the Saz 18 from this year just blew my mind.
It was so good.
It's so good. I think it would honestly be number 1 had it had extra proof.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. I actually didn't put this one on my top 10, but and it kind of is that I forgot about it a little bit. But I did love that bottle.
It's so good,
Man,
man.
it was a good product.
I mean, it just was just absolute roller coaster of flavor, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could not stop sipping it. I mean, I even think in the episode we did with this, you kind of looked at me like, you're not talking. You're just going back to your
Yeah, I
glass
think I
over
did
and
too.
over again. Like, I just had fun with it, man. It was good.
No, I totally agree with you. But rare breed rye for me at number 6. It's funny because like when I was thinking about my top 10, I was like, rare breed rye is going to be in there, and like I think I put it at number 5 initially, but I was like, there's a couple other things that I liked even better than I did that,
And that's
But,
fine.
Yeah.
But you also got to realize, I'm sure there's an LE in your top 5, and you're making a face. But I'm just like,
it's just because there's a couple.
yeah, but rare breed rye is somewhat accessible depending on where you live.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure as time goes on, it's just going to be more and more accessible.
I kind of read rare breed rye this year much in the same way that I did the Four Roses Small Batch Selective last year.
Yeah.
I think they're on very level playing fields in
I
the
do too.
accessibility and the quality. The proof on it gives it a lot of value as well. I think it's definitely Wild Turkey's best rye product that they've put out so far.
It is. And even their 101 rye is good.
It is.
I think I personally still prefer the Russell single barrel rye.
I think you do too.
Depending on whether or not you get a good one, because they have an extreme amount of variety in their rye barrels.
They do. They do.
I'll say it again, man, if they will ever let us do a rye single barrel Russell's pick, I will get a loan out today. I will put my house up for collateral. It's
Spare change.
yes. I mean, I can't wait for it, man.
All right. Number 5.
Number 5. I'm gonna let you go first.
My number 5 is the Parker's Heavy Char Bourbon.
Parker's Heavy Char.
I
Gotcha.
freaking love this product, man.
I do too, man.
I loved it so much.
I do too.
Just like, and I loved the Heavy Char Rye last year.
Yeah.
Did I say Heavy Char Rye before?
No.
I meant bourbon if
the
I did.
Heavy Char bourbon, yeah.
Okay. I kind of want to echo something that Clifton said.
Echo Sarah as well, because
Yeah.
Sarah's in love with that bottle.
Yeah. The way that Clifton put it was like, it's the best Elijah Craig barrel proof that you've never had.
Okay, yeah, I can get behind
You know,
that.
like
Yeah.
it's yes, it is LE. Yes, it does have the extra step of toasting, heavy char as well. But it just is so. It's just so good. It's just so
It's good, man. And the proof is phenomenal.
It is.
120.
120.
I mean, I wish it was a standard thing that they would put this kind of stuff
Yeah,
out. Because really, I feel like that was the first product they've had that for a proof hound stands up against the single barrel Knob Creek picks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, honestly, they could have an entire barrel selection program based on that alone.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I would love that. I mean, yeah, you would have to wait quite a while for the stock to
I'll
come
be around in 8 years. It's fine. I'll hang out. I'll do my thing, man.
You've got a calendar specifically for waiting
Yeah.
for those to come out.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Mine was actually a craft distillery. The Little Drummer. Or the Whiskey
Drummer?
Whiskey Drummer, yeah. Dude, I had way too much of Chad's.
I've had way too much of mine.
Yeah, and yours, which I'm taking a sample of today. But it's so good.
It's ridiculous.
I know it's sourced. It has a lot of
Don't care.
a lot of Knob Creek-esque things going on with it.
Yes, it does.
But it's just good, man.
It's ridiculous. So first off, I want to say, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show yet or not. I had Neil Giraldo on the podcast. He's the husband of Pat Benatar, of course, and he founded Steel Bending Spirits, and Whiskey Drummer was their big release.
Yes,
from 3-Chord Bourbon this past year. And everybody was getting sent 200 ml bottles with like 3 ounces in them. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Neil at the end of the interview, and he said he would send me some, and I was just fully expecting to get that same setup.
and we would have been ecstatic.
I would have been floored.
for that.
I would have been floored
Yeah.
if that was how much we got. Instead, they blew my mind and sent me a whole 750 of this limited run of bottles.
Yes.
I just pissed my pants. I was so excited. Like, I don't know a better way to explain. Like, I opened the box and I just looked at it and my mouth hit the floor
Yeah.
and it just stayed there. Even after I got done drinking it for the first time.
Man.
It blew me away.
It was so funny.
In case you can't tell, it might have made it onto my list too. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, and the best part about it was we had a rep come into the store, and she was from 3-Chord.
Yeah.
And we ordered some product in for her. We got it all in there, and I was just like, Do you have any Whiskey Drummer? Do you have any Whiskey Drummer? And she was like, No, we're just doing 3 standard releases. And I was like, Oh, okay. And then I all day just kept talking to people about Whiskey Drummer. She's like, You don't carry that here. You don't have any. Why are we talking about this? Like, she had that look on her face. She was super nice. She was just like, we really don't.
Shut up, guy.
We really don't have that. We've got our 12-year, which is great. Mm-hmm. We have our rye, which I think is honestly my favorite out of the bunch. I really like the rye. And I mean, she was just like looking at me like, I'm glad you're excited, buddy. I could not shut up about it. It was so good.
Well, good for you. Yeah, that was number 5.
That was number 5.
That was number 5. So number 4.
Number 4, Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series 3.
Nice. I did love the Bardstown products this year, like we already said.
Yes.
Even their Fusion 3.
The Fusion 3 was great.
I was blown away by it.
Yes. And their Discovery Series 4 technically came out this year.
It did, but I haven't had it yet.
I tried it. You're going to like it because it is a certain distillery, Jim Beam, heavy, very heavy. I mean, it is like a Jim Beam pick.
Did you put the cough in the wrong place there?
I did, yeah, intentionally. Dude, it's good. It's good. I just like 3 better. I just like 3 better.
Sure. I don't think I've actually had Discovery 3.
You are missing out. We will find you a sample.
I'm okay with that. I'd buy a bottle.
You should buy a bottle.
I'd buy a bottle. I'm down.
It stood up to every bit of the BTAC line this year.
Nice.
It's phenomenal.
Awesome. My number 4 was A120.
All right.
Which is now my new second favorite batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. We ranted and raved about it at the beginning of the year.
We did.
It has held up for me. I still think it's an incredible batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I've kind of lost that dusty flavor that I was getting on it originally.
See, and that's what knocked it down for me.
Because
that's why
we might have to revisit it.
B520 was kind of the apex for them for me this year.
Yeah, we might have to revisit it for you then. I think that it's so good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, C918 is always going to reign supreme.
It's so good
for me.
Man.
But A120, if I'm finding one, I'm snatching it up.
Yeah,
I mean,
as you should. I'll be honest. There's not a single Elijah Craig Barrel Proof that I would be displeased with finding.
No.
If it was at retail or even at $80, to be honest with you, it's going home with me. That's fine. I'm all for it.
I'm even starting to rationalize paying more for the older bottles too, like the old pirate style bottles.
Oh yeah, if you can find one of those under 150, it's a thought.
It is.
It's a definite thought.
It is for sure. All right, number 3.
Top 3.
Here we go.
William LaRue Weller.
Ooh,
This year's was great. There was no denying it, man.
I don't disagree with you at all.
It dropped some of the floral notes that I kind of got on previous years that was just like, this is really good. If it would just pull this one thing out, it would be the best. Did great this year, man. I have 0 complaints on that bourbon. There's just, and because it's at 3, there's 2 that I enjoyed more. For one reason or another, I enjoyed more. I'm not going to see this bottle again, more than likely. There's always a chance. It's just, I'm not going to see it again.
Well, Swan, it's funny that you said that because I also had William LaRue Weller at number 3.
Oh, man. It's one of those you can't talk about, man.
I know, because you either sound like a jerk about it or...
Yeah.
like, I mean, I just... It was like a return to form with WLW.
It was.
Because last year was good. Mm-hmm. The year before, I think, was just kind of average, if I remember correctly. But 2017 was unreal.
It was.
And this reminded me so much of the 2017 release.
Yeah.
So, I totally agree with you. But there were 2 things that I enjoyed drinking more than William LaRue Weller this year.
All right. Well, let's hear it, man. I'm going to let you go with number 2
All right.
first.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Whiskey Drummer.
Whiskey Drummer. All right.
I again, I can't say enough good things about this bottle. I'm so fortunate to actually own one.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been enjoying it with people.
You have. You
So-
have very much been enjoying it.
I mean, what do you want me to do, man? Like,
Well, no, they
this
gave
is-
you that to share with people.
I
Yeah.
treated this in the same way that I treat all of my other LE bottles.
Yeah.
I get really excited about them, and then I just drink it through them too quickly.
Yeah.
You know? And this was no different. Neil said, I say Neil like we're best buds now. But when we were talking about what the intentions of Whiskey Drummer were. I think I might have just figured out why he sent this full bottle to me.
Yeah.
But the intentions were for you to sit down with people and enjoy it and share it and have memories made and conversations and laughs and everything. And he said, this was made for people like you and your dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't hit me until right now that's probably why we got a full bottle of it.
Yeah. Well, he also sent it to you because it's like, we can't shut up about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone that's not
we
had
literally
it,
have not been
we're
able
just like,
to.
here's an ounce. Here's an ounce. Here you go. Have this. Try this. I mean, how can you not, man?
I know.
How can you not?
It's just phenomenal. It was a real late addition for me as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, once I got it, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, what's your number 2?
Knob Creek 12-year cast strength. I've seen 3 different proofs of this bottle, and I've had 3 different ones. All fantastic.
Yeah.
There is yet to be an iteration of this that I did not like. And just the reason it ranks so high for me is because if you look at Elijah Craig, if you look at Larceny, if you look at Booker's, all of them have hits and misses. You know, I mean, they've got different parts of it where it's just, this is done well, this is This is that C+ that, Professor Perry gave me over and over again. All 3 of these were great that I tried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
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 Yes. You need to tell me something about your number 1.
I need to tell you something about my number 1, Swan.
Okay.
Coming in at number 1. Knob Creek cast strength 12-year for me, man.
Yeah.
I think this was the latest addition to my list, or to my list for consideration. Mm-hmm. And I'm on board with you. I was blown away by what I had from it this year.
It's so good.
I just can't get over
Yeah.
how freaking consistent and amazing these products have been. And let me say something too. We were complaining at the end of last year that these older picks were going away.
I get it now.
I totally 100% get it, and I am not in the least upset about it.
No.
I mean, as I just said, it's my number one of 2020.
Yeah.
It just killed it. It just killed it.
It did,
I
man.
agree with you. I think it was way better than the Bookers that came out this year. It was leaps and bounds better than the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs that came out this year. I have a hard time thinking about this, not going, at least one of these is going to be a 19 out of 20.
Yeah.
That's how strong I feel about it.
Because you've had two, right?
I've had two of them.
You've had two.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which one's this? Here's the higher proof one.
Yeah.
So we can have some of this if you
Absolutely. Let me finish this
wouldn't be
Russell's.
opposed. Yeah, go for it. Oh man, I'm just I'm so thankful that I got to try both of these proofs.
Yeah.
For one,
And for most people, this is anywhere between 100 and like 80-ish bucks.
yeah,
And it's worth every penny. I mean, there's stores that I'm sure have a 12-year pick on one shelf, and then the 12-year cash strength on the other shelf for probably a good $40 difference.
Yeah.
And you've got to try it. The 12-year cash strength. You have to.
I totally agree, man.
It's hard to justify, but it is just amazing.
I don't think that it's that hard to justify. I think
It's hard
that
to justify before you've tasted it.
Okay, that is fair. But here's my thing. If you are looking for a high-proof, well-aged LE on the market that you might find comparable to something like the Antique Collection,
Yes.
this is that bottle.
I can't disagree.
Whether it's the 120.5 or the 124.3, this did it for me this year. This
Absolutely.
was absolutely it. And again, the fact that it came into the game so late for me and still came out on top. I'm tickled. I'm just tickled.
Are you ready for mine?
I'm ready for your number one. I don't know what's about to happen.
Remember
here.
I told you it was going to be controversial?
Yeah.
It's a craft distillery. It's not Nulu, Adam Terry. The Boxer Grail Founders Collection.
Wow.
I loved it.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That is out of left field.
I loved that bottle. The presentation was amazing. I know it was limited edition, but it was just so good, man. I mean, there was nothing about that bottle that disappointed. It was I don't go nuts over any of their other offerings, but this one specifically was fantastic. It had a nice warm to the chest, a little bit of clove, some tobacco, some honey. I mean, it was amazing.
This is the rye from Rabbit Hole, by the way.
This is the rye from Rabbit
Yeah.
Hole. Yes. I loved that bottle, man. Chad got one, and I went down to his basement to pack up some orders and help him out when we were doing a ton over Black Friday. He was like, yeah, I left that out. If you want to try it, go ahead. I had like a moment, you know? I tried it with zero
This
expectation.
is your spiritual rebirth.
No people around me, just sitting in a room with a bunch of t-shirts, and it was just like, this is phenomenal. Like, I could not get enough.
Yeah.
It was just so good, man. I loved that bottle. If I see it again, I'll pick it up. I saw 3 at work, and it has to sit on the shelf for 24 hours, and I was like, well, they didn't say this shelf. So I really thought about it. But no, we had 3 people come in. They were super excited about it. Definitely went to some good people, but it was legitimately it was my favorite bottle this year. It was so original, and I know that there's plenty of other things that were amazing, but as far as just the overall experience, the packaging, I could not get over that bottle.
What's
this year.
controversial about this, though? I don't understand.
It's a 6-year rye. It's just, I mean, that's what it is. It's a cask strength 6-year rye, and I totally understand that people are going to be like, so you put William LaRue Weller underneath? I mean, yes, I did, but I mean,
but if it's not as good, it's not as good.
it's not as good. Yeah,
And I mean, it's all subjective. I mean,
It is, man.
Not everybody's going to agree with
it is.
half of what we said on here.
No,
but at the
no, they
same
won't.
time, screw it.
Yeah, I loved it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
wish I had
so
gotten to try it.
excited about it when
Yeah.
it came in. I would open the case and let people hold it. I was like, you've got to hold this bottle like it's your child. And they're
Yeah.
just like, well, what do you mean? And they picked it up, and every single one had the same reaction. They would hold that bottle and they're like, oh my gosh, this is heavy. And this is so cool. And they'd like play with the embossing, and I was just like, and you've not even tasted it yet.
Yeah.
Like, it just, something about that bottle just excited me. And I loved it, man.
So you're saying people should definitely go pick one up if they can.
If you find it, I think it's worth retail plus a good $20 to $50.
Wow.
I think it's worth it.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could get on board with that with the Knob Creek for maybe about $100.
Yeah.
I think it would be totally worth it.
Yeah.
So it's been a very strange year, I feel like. Not as strange as 2019 was.
Yeah.
For releases. I think that we've had more consistently good releases in 2020, but it just was odd.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't what any of us.
It was really odd because half my top 10 was rye. Almost half.
It's really bizarre.
4 out of 6.
I only had one.
Yeah.
I only had one rye in my top 10, but deservedly so. It was there. I again, rare breed rye, just
Yeah.
chef's kiss.
It's good, man.
So that was our top 10 for 2020. Man,
I told you it'd be
I
different,
know
man.
it is. It was.
Yeah.
Was. We're just gonna keep rolling along, though. I mean, we're not taking any time off. We're gonna keep doing episodes. You though are gonna be gone for a few weeks,
I will, yeah. Hopefully with me being here on weekends, I can drop in.
and if you can't,
Yeah.
that's okay.
So,
I've got plans. We've got some guest hosts lined up,
absolutely.
so we'll be fine. You go work. You go take care of stuff, and when you
Yeah.
come back, I'll make sure that you have a seat warm for you.
Nice. Okay. I can do that.
I'm putting in a seat warmer on your leather club chair over there.
Heck yeah. All for it.
Swan, I do believe that now it is time for our world-famous segment, Tips and Bits, where we recommend things to people. Not always bourbon-related. Sometimes it is. This week, what you got, Swanee?
All right. So, did you ever watch the show on Netflix, Manhunt Unabomber?
No, I've not watched Manhunt.
Okay. It's a series. I didn't know this. But it's not a series in this traditional sense of like, here's season 1, here's season 2. They do like one-off 8-episode seasons where they just deep dive into like just an entire case, basically. Mm-hmm. They posted one on Netflix yesterday and didn't say anything.
Wow.
And so I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I really liked the Unabomber one because it was something that I wasn't really here for, and I got to learn about it.
Yeah, sure, of course.
And so they posted another one, and this one's entirely about the 1996 Olympic bombing,
Oh, wow.
which I didn't even know was a thing.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's like it just grips onto you, and you just can't stop watching episodes. Like before I came here, I've never done this with this show, but I was like, I have 10 minutes. Let me get 10 minutes into this next episode, and then I'll go to Perry's. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. It's great. It's really good.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out then.
Absolutely.
We started watching a show called Dead to Me
Okay.
with Christina Applegate and oh shoot, what is her name? She's the lady who was in Freaks and Geeks.
I am no help to you right now.
Can't remember her name. It's fine. Really good. Really good. It started as I would say a dramatic comedy, and the second season turned into more of a comedic drama, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Really good. I've just enjoyed it so much. It was one of those shows where we were like, we just need something to watch, and people recommend it and everything. And I think the first season's better than the second, but it's also executive produced by Will Ferrell. Yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah,
I
that
like the
came up in the
idea.
credits, and I was like, "What is this?"
I like the idea of him just being like, has to be funny, and then just taking a very serious undertone and just throwing jokes at it.
There are some lighthearted moments in there,
Yeah.
but I mean, overall, it's pretty. It's like a dark comedy.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, yeah. I've also been watching this guy on YouTube, and we're really more so Facebook. He's a chef. His name's Eitan Bernath. Eithan. Oh wait, no, excuse me. Eitan Bernath. And he's 18 years old. Really, really super good at what he does. Most of his videos are pretty quick. I mean, they've got a clip to him. He'll do a series where he tries like viral recipes, crazy stuff like you can cook a steak in a microwave, or making a grilled cheese with a clothing iron or something like that, and seeing how it turns out. And it's just really cool. It's not as lengthy as some of the other chefs on YouTube can be. And then I got Super Mario Odyssey for Christmas. I think I might have found one of my favorite games of all time
That's perfectly fine.
in it. And maybe my favorite Mario game.
Yeah.
Truly.
Bold, but understandable.
I know. But I had a moment when I was playing it this afternoon. Just had some downtime, and I was like, I'm going to knock out a few power moons, just see what's going on. And of course it turned into like an hour or two. And like, there's a moment in it that made me so happy, I started crying. Like, it was just that level of investment that I feel like I have in the series. It just made me happy, man. It's fun. I love Mario. So anyway, 2021, we're here.
Yeah, it's
We're
going to be a good
doing
one,
it.
man.
I freaking hope so.
I'm going to make it one.
There's no other way.
I'm not letting it be bad again. There's going to be a lot of negative stuff that I'm going to completely ignore. With safety guidelines. But that's about it.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for supporting us throughout 2020 as well. We had a really, really great year for listenership, for downloads as well. We had our 2 best months ever in 2020. Hands down, our best months ever. And that's all just because of you guys, for tuning into the show, for being consistent listeners, telling your friends about it, and, taking the time to invest in what we do. We're now entering the 4th year of the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is insane. In 12 weeks, we will have episode 200.
Oh, my God.
Sarah hit me with that earlier today. Sister Sarah. She was like, what do you got? Do you have something big planned for episode 200? And I was like, yeah.
For episode 190, we're going to be drinking Everclear.
Wrong. Anyway, I just want to offer a very sincere thank you. And, just you guys are the best. You always have been. You've always been so supportive. I know we're not the biggest bourbon podcast, but I think we're one of the more fun ones, of course.
We have a tight community.
Yeah, we really, really do. And, it's growing all the time. And that's all. I don't want to wax too poetic. I could go on for a while. And thank you, Swan.
Yeah, thanks for having me on all the time.
Absolutely. You said that like I force you to do this.
No.
At gunpoint.
No. I mean, it is an audio medium for a reason, but no.
Anyway, we'll catch up with you guys next week. There are places where you can follow up with us on social media, though. Swan, where are those places for you?
I'm at SwanTBF on Instagram.
And I am at BRitter1492 on all social media channels. You can follow the show itself on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at MyBourbonPod. You can also leave us a nice little review on whatever podcast app you are listening to, and we will read that review out here on the show. We've got one all the way from over in the UK. How about that?
Nice.
I can't see the name on this one, unfortunately, because I get this through through another service, so it doesn't come through my actual app. But it is 5 stars, and it says Bourbon Starved Brit. Love this podcast from Perry and Swan. It's not as easy to get some of the more limited bottles over here in the UK, but I do love hearing their take on bourbon, life, and everything. Keep up, the awesome work. And then he puts a thumbs up at the end. So to you, Bourbon Starved Brit, I'm going to give you a big old thumbs up as well for leaving such a sweet review for us on the podcast. You can also find all of our apparel and merchandise at bourbonshop.threadless.com, aside from the one place where you can get our official glassware, which is at whiskeyambitions.com.
Absolutely.
Where you can find our This Is My Bourbon drinking glass Glencairns.
They're so nice, man.
They're so good. That's what we've been drinking out of this entire episode as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they came directly from Glencairn, so they're the real deal.
They're official.
They are official.
Official.
Yes.
They're bona fide.
Yes.
If you have questions or comments, you can send them to thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. You can also leave us a voicemail for our Barrel Ring segment, which comes up from time to time at 859-428-8253. We'll listen to it here on the show and reply accordingly. I go live on YouTube every Thursday night at youtube.com/thisismybourbonpodcast at 8 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. Let's see what else. You can head to facebook.com and search for This Is My Bourbon Group, which is where we all have our little group, our little congregation, our little community. It's a great place where we give each other a really hard time and start random fights for no reason.
That's so accurate.
Just really thought that entire group was just going to burn to the ground that day. Thanks for that, Dustin. Hey, but also last but not least, if you would like to help support the show on a monthly basis or even a yearly basis, because we do have that available now as well, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast, and for as little as $1 a month, you can help support the show. For as little as $5 a month, you get all the bonus content, which includes the pregame chats, and this week we're bringing back Last Call.
Last Call,
as well. We're doing something weird.
Last Call is going to be a hodgepodge for a little bit, but it's going to be fun.
It will be, and eventually we'll get back to our fun little sketch episodes that we did for Last Call for a while too. But there's a big old back catalog as well, and the Patreon tiers are going to be rearranged a little bit here now in the next couple of weeks. It's going to reflect some future endeavors that we have, and I think that it's something that people are going to be really interested in getting on board with. And just to tease it a little bit, if you missed out on the Riff Miss pick and you're interested in finding out about future barrel picks from the Timbip group, that's where you can find out about it first. Yeah. So head over there. Patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. That does it for episode 188. Thank you all so much, as always, for listening. I'm super excited for next week, which is going to be Hostile Swan Takeover 2.
Hostile Swan Takeover, yep.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. What a name.
Yeah, it's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't wait for it. We'll see you all then. But until next week, I'm Perry.
And I'm Swan.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast.